Good afternoon. Just 2 minutes past 12. It's Vicky here, the alcohol addiction disordered eating eliminator, your friendly, healthy nutrition and lifestyle coach. I just want to talk about not feeling good enough today because it's a theme that seems to have cropped up a fair old bit this week. And so I just wanted to kind of jump on and talk about just where that stems from, particularly when it comes to having issues around food and body weight and body image and how we should look to feel enough. So, for those of you who know a little bit about my story, I used to refer to myself as a failed, in inverted commas, anorexic because I didn't have the willpower, the control to not eat. And I wanted so desperately to have that control. And I just didn't seem to be able to do it. I couldn't follow a bog basic diet plan without cheating on it. And therefore, because I felt such failure at not being able to be in control, that's when I discovered bulimia. So what I also did though is I got really, really good at being bulimic, and to the point where it was actually really hard for my body to keep anything down. And then all of a sudden, it became a lot easier to be more on the anorexic side because I was basically kind of rejecting pretty much most things. And the scariest point came for me when I remember waking up one morning and I was around about the 5.5 stone mark, and I was hiding it from my parents. They were too busy with what was happening in their lives to really notice what was going on and just how thin I was, because I covered it up really, really well. But I distinctly remember that one specific morning and waking up as you do when your mouth's just a little bit dry, and the first thing you want to do is just have a drink of water. And I remember I was kind of gulping down 2 or 3 kind of, quick mouthfuls, and wouldn't stay down. I literally had to run to the loo, and yeah, it came straight back up. And that actually was a turning point mentally for me. I didn't make me stop my behavior immediately, but mentally that was the point where I knew that I had a serious problem and I probably needed some help. But when you're that thin and you've worked so hard, and the first few years of me being bulimic, my weight was very much normal. You wouldn't know that I had any issues around food probably to look at me. Even going out, I would pretend that all was well, although I was a healthy eater. But then secretly, when I'd been good in front of people, I would then go away and stuff myself stupid with all the stuff that I really wanted to eat, but wouldn't allow myself to eat in front of others. So for me, my journey was quite a long one, from starting that whole bulimia thing at around 12 and a half, 13 years old, to being at my lowest weight when I was 17, 16 and a half. And yeah, it was actually, this is where the not good enoughness was, because when I was diminishing in size, I would be comparing myself. And as I got more and more into that whole disordered way of thinking and the way that we look at ourselves, and that whole body image distortion that happens when you're in the midst of an eating disorder, I didn't really have a clue about how I really looked. And I certainly had no clue how I looked to other people, but I was really good at comparing how I thought I looked to other people. And I wanted to be thinner than them. I also wanted to feel superior to them in terms of me appearing on the outside in public to have this amazing self-control. The reality was that was a complete lie. And I was stuffing my face and spending an absolute fortune on food to then get rid of it. And at that point, I was also taking laxatives. Was I at that point? No, actually, at my thinnest, I wasn't. I'd stopped that, thank goodness. But it was not a great space to be in. And yet there was part of me that wanted to feel better than. And this is something that crops up so much, particularly with anorexic people. And it comes down to not feeling good enough. And this is where it kind of seems like these are two sides of the same coin, but they seem like they're both different things. On the one hand, you want to feel enough because you don't feel good enough. And yet, on the other hand, you actually do feel superior because you have more control and you on the outside appear to have everything, including the skinny body and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a real problem to help people to get over this type of thinking because how can you stop the desire to feel better than when actually you don't feel good enough? Because the only way we think when you're in it to feel good enough is to be better than others. And so we've got a real kind of pull in two different directions happening. And the idea of letting go of that control means that you're going to let go of feeling superior to other people. And therefore, that's going to make you feel even less than. Never mind not good enough, that's going to go through the floor. So you can see why it's so difficult for people to let go of this stuff. And this is why it's so important that when you're, if you're in a family where somebody has got issues with food and they are struggling, there is so many things going on there. If you talk to them about what is happening in their head, they will explain to you. It's like there are so many different voices saying contradictory things but all at the same time, and sometimes some are louder than others, right? And they'll go through days and weeks where the same voices are louder than others, and then for whatever reason, there'll be another voice that pops in that suddenly outshines all of the rest, and you start listening to that. And before you know it, you've gotten yourself into this whole kind of mess of being confused about what you should do, how you're feeling, if you even know how you're feeling. And it all comes down to, ultimately, it comes down to not feeling good enough. And this is stuff that we have picked up. And it doesn't matter what age you are when you're feeling this, you will have picked it up from what went on when you were a kid. And here's the thing, when we talk about eating disorders being a lot to do with trauma, and a lot of people think trauma is something massive that happens, but it's not. Trauma can be how we feel after just one comment. And one comment can stay with us for decades, and it can absolutely affect the trajectory of our lives in terms of how we think and how we feel about ourselves. Now, that comment was probably said in a kind of a passing moment, and the person who made it will never remember it. Right. But to you, it is absolutely huge and it is massive. And this is why it is so important that if you are feeling not good enough, you need to start really listening to what are the words, what are the thoughts that are going on in your head, and ask yourself, who does that belong to? Is it mine? Does it belong to somebody else? Whose voice am I hearing when I'm hearing those words? Because chances are it is not your voice, but you have adopted it as being your own. And the only way that we can get rid of not good enoughness is to keep reminding ourselves that our achievements and our size, our exam results, and the size of our body does not reflect how nice or how good we are or how enough we are as a person. But when you're a teenager and your whole world is revolving around exam results and the pressures that kids are being put under from schools and potentially from parents, not all parents I know, but even if a parent you're quite laid back about it all, they're getting it from school and they're getting it from their friends. And if their friends are saying, I'm spending all of my half-term holiday revising, and they're not. Oh my goodness. Am I not good enough? Should I be doing this? What if I don't get really good grades now because I'm not doing as much as that person? And we start bringing in the self-doubt of not enoughness. Now, I felt this myself this week. I felt it very much myself in terms of what I'm doing with launching my programs and doing something new with YouTube ads. This is an avenue that I've not gone down the road of before. When I first did Facebook ads, I felt about Facebook ads how I now feel about YouTube ads to some degree, because it's a whole new territory and you're learning a new platform. I have to say that YouTube platform is a lot easier to negotiate than Facebook ads platform, but there are so many different parts to putting a course launch together. And when you don't get the response that you're hoping for, and you don't get the people, contacting you, and the phone calls and the inquiries that you're hoping you're going to get, you are going to look at yourself and you're going to go, so what am I doing wrong? Right? How come this person over here can do it and that person over here can do it and that person over there is doing it? Why aren't I? What's wrong with me? Am I not good enough? And I have been absolutely falling into that rabbit hole. Fortunately, not for long, right? I got my paws on the edge. Right, my body fell in, but I got my paws on the edge going, let's get out of this hole. This is ridiculous. Because I know that if I go down that hole, I will completely shut off. And if I shut off, and of course, nobody's going to even know about my course, never mind sign up to it. And then I won't be able to help all of the people who I know are out there waiting for me to help them. But the point is, it is easy to spiral into that thinking. And unless you have the awareness, and this is what I'm coming back to, unless you have the awareness that your brain is taking you into that not good enoughness arena, it's hard to pull yourself out of it. And sometimes you just need somebody to just say, hey, why not you? Use the other people who have done it before you and who are getting lots and lots of sign-ups into their courses. Use them as inspiration. What are they doing that you can learn from? What can you do differently that you're not doing already? What do you need to do more of? What do you need to do less of? Because ultimately, I am where I'm meant to be right now. This is part of my journey. It's part of my learning process. Is it comfortable? Freaking heck, no, it is so not comfortable. However, am I running away from it? No. Did I want to at times this week? Good God, yes, I have wanted to do that. But I also know, thankfully, because of the work that I've done on myself and with my own coaches, that I need to go through this to be able to grow and to learn and to come out the other side. And that's what we have to do. So part of that is sitting with that not good enoughness feeling. The key is to not stay wallowing in it, and to allow yourself to recognize that that is what's going on, but also that you need to change your thinking, change your habits, change your actions, change what you're listening to, change who you are being exposed to, and elevate out of it. And that was the bracelet, the last one, the magic bracelet that I had done, and I have had to keep looking at this on numerous occasions this week to lift myself out of that not good enoughness hole. I don't want to feel superior anymore, folks. I really don't. I did when I was in the midst of my disordered eating, and I absolutely get people who are still stuck in that. And that's why I do what I do, because it's a long time ago, but you know what? To me, when I start thinking about it or start talking about it, it's literally like it was yesterday. I can absolutely, on a cellular level, go back to just how I felt and what was going on in my head. Fortunately, I can now pull myself out of it, but we have to feel the feelings. We have to know, though, that they will not last. They will flow. They will keep on moving. Emotions are just something that is consistently moving. And we know that, energy allows us to keep on changing. I can change the room I'm in. I can change the view that I have. I can change what I am doing with my time in the next 10 minutes. I can decide to get a boost of endorphins by going out in the garden and skipping in little short, sharp bursts. And I can just switch my brain off from falling down that hole of not good enoughness. But sometimes we need to take our own tools and practice and use them. So if you are having a week where maybe half term's not panned out quite how you hoped, and maybe you're working on a project that you're kind of going, oh my God, I don't even know if I should have started this. And, somebody else is doing something really similar and it looks like they're doing it 10 times better than me. And who am I to be doing this, right? You need to go through it, but know that you mustn't allow yourself to stay wallowing in it. It's part of your process, it's part of your journey, and keep on moving forward. So that's all I had to share with you today, folks. And I do hope that you do have a nice weekend. It says it's going to bucket it down with rain, but the sun's coming out, and I am looking forward to Halloween. Absolutely love it. And I hope that we will get loads of trick-or-treaters so that all our decorations are absolutely seen by as many people as possible. And I wish the same for my course and my adverts and everything else that I'm doing, because I know that I just keep on going forward and moving forward, and whatever will be is what's meant to be, as long as I'm in the right mindset to keep on moving forward and I don't wallow, stagnate, or stand still in not good enoughness. Happy Friday, folks. Speak to you soon.